Roll the opener because it is time for everyone's favourite volcano.
Yeah, pretty fired up today, TJ. The AFL's illicit drugs policy just does not work, and this year alone we've seen feature stories on Ben Cousins, former Melbourne player Brock McLean, and in today's Herald Sun, former Hawthorn All-Australian Jonathan Hay, who described himself as a full-blown drug addict who abused various drugs including ice in his playing days. This paragraph here, it makes for staggering reading. I got a couple of strikes, but they were confidential. I didn't get tested a great deal on game day, which was fortunate. I got tested quite a bit during training, and morphine and Valium doesn't show up. Now, whilst the AFL has since tightened the restrictions and the parameters around the illicit drugs policy since those days, it is not enough, and there is no doubt that there are current day players still abusing this policy that does protect the anonymity of players. And I get the feeling that in 5-10 years' time, there's going to be a current day player that's going to be the next Brock McLean or the next Jonathan Hay that's going to come out and tell their story, how drugs ruined their life, and we would have learned absolutely nothing. So my message to the AFL and the AFL Players Association, by extension the players, they must do more to stamp out this illicit drug use that is clearly rampant still in the game.
So, Kane, you get protected from your name, obviously being put out there, but how much is going on? So the doctors will work with you from that point? Is that why you don't obviously have your name put out there, but the doctors are meant to work with you?
Yeah, there's different restrictions around it, and we heard a lot about the one where you can ring up and self-report. So there's a protection there if you can do that, and the players are learning ways of which to get around this system. Brock McLean speaks about in his article on the SAC podcast and in the Herald Sun that he was abusing drugs all weekend and he was turning up on Monday and still passing illicit drugs tests. Now, Damo, I know you've been following this from its inception, which was around the early 2000s, 2004, 2005, and you've covered it closely, and still to this day, apart from Travis Tuck, no one has been publicly named from this policy.
It was never set up to catch anyone. A club doctor, in the week it was released publicly...
Well, hang on, sorry, you sort of skimmed over that pretty quickly. Just say that again. It was never set up to catch anyone.
In terms of exposing that person to the public. And I had a real strong view on that, and I still do, but I've also learned that there's education attached to it and welfare attached to it, which is equally important. But a club doctor, Kane, on the very week it was launched, rang me and said that it's not set up to ever have this person made public. And as such, I think the working backwards from it meant it has not worked at its optimum, to the point where, to your point, players now are coming out telling stories. And if it's Brock McLean and Jonathan Hay, you can be guaranteed there are many, many more who aren't or choosing not to tell their stories of a similar nature.
I think one of the most staggering things in that article this morning, and this is something we all spoke about prior to the show, is the fact that the Hawthorn medical room was open and he just walked in and helped himself into the Hawthorn medical room. Now, you guys have all played at club level. Is that something that is normal throughout clubland?
Wasn't at Essendon.
No, well, it's astounding. The Hawthorn had a cabinet in the doctor's room and it was full of Valium and sleeping tablets, and I could walk in there and it wasn't locked. I don't blame Hawthorn, but I would go in there and help myself to whatever I wanted. Now, if that's not cause for an
Did you experience that?
No, not to that level.
Did you?
Not to that level, no.
But you could access a medical cabinet?
Well, you obviously needed a key, but no players had the key. But, I mean, heaps of players went in and out, but you didn't have just access
to go in and out
take whatever you wanted. Hey?
How'd they go in and out if they didn't have a key?
Because it's part of a one big room, so there's a lot of people in the one big room getting treatment and all that. So that was a long time ago. It might be different now, but you don't just have access to take it like obviously Johnny Hay did.